Hello, in this video I will show how to use niliBOX on mobile devices and demonstrate what can be done. I will use several devices. The first one is this Android tablet. It is a Lenovo tablet, not high specs, but it will work for us. I will also demonstrate a little bit how it can run on a very old Android phone where I have installed also niliBOX. Then we will move to an iPad. This is a normal iPad. I don't know exactly what model, but it's like 3 years old. I have also installed niliBOX there. And finally, I will show what can be done in a normal iPhone. This is an iPhone 13. This is my personal phone where I have also installed niliBOX. During this video, I will be moving a lot of devices, cables, so apologize if the video results a bit messy, but I hope that I can show all what I want. And we will start with Android, which is the operating system, the mobile operating system that can provide better functionalities. Essentially, you can do in an Android the same as you can do in a normal PC with any other of the operating systems. This is my Android, and now I will mirror the screen of this tablet on the main screen so that you can see it better. Now you can see the screen. This is a complete mirror. You can see that it behaves the same way. So let's start niliBOX. This is a standard installation, and I have already installed a driver test module. I will use this to show what hardware is recognized. You can see that right now there is nothing connected, so we can see only the standard audio input, audio output, video, the front and rear camera. There is no serial devices and no USB devices. Now I will connect the first device. To do that, we need this kind of cable. This is an OTG cable, which looks like a normal adapter cable, but it has some special wiring in one of the connectors to allow the communication in server mode from the Android device to the devices. So I will connect it here, and we will start by connecting the most simple device that we can handle, which is an SDR dongle. I have used this one in other videos. It is a very standard one of these cheap dongles based on the E4000 tuner. So I will connect it, and you will see that immediately the hardware is recognized. You can see here the RTL 2838 dongle with its USB ID. This is the one that we are going to use for the first demonstration. I will connect some antenna here so that we can hear something. So this is a full setup based on Android with a SDR receiver and an antenna. So let's go now to set the module. I will select this module, RTL 2832. The first time that you use it, it will ask for permissions to use the USB device. We click OK, and you can see that the hardware is recognized. It is there. So I will type here some quick name. I will call it simply RTL. Save configuration, close, and now we have the device here. I open it, and you can see that it is recognized. The power button is green. In the audio output section, you can see the standard output for an Android device, including the null device, which is null output, no output. Okay, I will start it. I will mute by now. I will type some frequency here. I will put it in FM. I will change the filter, and now I will show a few visualization panels. You can see that it is fully functional. Let's see what we can hear here. So we have radio receiver. If you change the sampling frequency, given that it is an Android, so it is not very powerful, you could have some issues. With the SDR dongles, usually you can go up to 2.8 without any issue. And all the functionalities are available. I will not show many other things because you can check the other videos about how to use it. Everything, absolutely everything is the same. You have here all the panels, the different tools. Okay. I will now power off and close the module. Next, I will show the same operation with another type of SDR receiver, with an RSP1A from SDR Play. Let me put this somewhere else. And I have a USB cable here that is connected to one of those receivers, to SDR Play receiver. We cannot see the antenna, we cannot see the receiver because they are a bit far away, but we will see. I will just open the driver test so that we can see how the hardware is recognized. Always the other way. You can see that it is detected here, RSP1A from SDR Play with the USB ID. So now let's do the same as before. Let's create a new device using the driver for SDR Play RSP1A. I press accept, OK, and usually with this kind of receivers you have to press OK 2 times because of some resets that is done when it is started. The device is here, and I will give it also a name, RSP1A. That should be enough. Save configuration. Let's open devices, and it is here, RSP1A. And same operation. I will just open something. Let's okay. Let's mute it, and I will use the same frequency than before. Put it in WFM and set the knob to 200 kilohertz for the filter. You can see how I use the knobs. As I don't have a keyboard, I have to press on it and then turn. You don't need to have your finger on top of the knob. You can go outside of it for a more fine control of the knob, like this. I will put the RF gain to 20 dBs. And let's see what we have there.
Hvis en af dine spillere udskiftes uanset årsagen, så er det ikke slut. Dit væddemål overføres til en skifter. Download appen og se hvorfor It's Never Ordinary at den 65. Kun for personer over 18 år, til mens kræves regler og vilkår gælder. Spil ansvarligt.
Okay, regarding sampling frequency, taking account that this is not a very powerful device, so of course we can increase the sampling frequency, but I don't recommend to go very high. Here we are 4 megahertz, it is okay, 5. At 6 it may start to fail a little bit, and of course if I put it at 12 megahertz, you can see that this is not the best. You can see that when we go very high in sampling frequency, then it starts to fail. You may even have a crash of the application because it cannot handle that frequency. I recommend something like 4 megahertz, but it depends very much on what kind of hardware are we using. For the rest, I have to say exactly the same. It is the same behavior. Also taking account that, okay, let's see how this works. You can also use it in white mode, and it behaves in the same way than an PC. So the band scope and band spectrogram, they go wider, and you can also extend the height of any of these two panels. I'll put it back to normal. And also here, of course, we can do the same. I will stop here. And now that we have these two devices already configured, I will show something else. I will use this basic USB hub, and I will use it to connect two devices at the same time. Here it is connected. Now I will connect the RSP1A. First, let me start the driver test so that we can see how the hardware behaves. I will connect it here. You can see how the RSP1A is recognized, and now I will bring the SDR dongle with its antenna. Okay. Yes. This is a little magnet to allow it to stay standing. I will connect it here. And yes, they are both now recognized, the SDR dongle and the SDR play receiver. So let's try to use them again. I go to devices. I will start first the RTL. We need to accept again because we have disconnected and reconnected. You can see that it is working. And if I open now the RSP1A, we should be able to run the two in parallel. Of course, as I said before, this depends very much on how powerful is your tablet. But you can see that they are both operational. We can even put them in horizontal again. I will try to, yes, I will put them so that we can simply switch from one to another one, and they are both operational, including the driver test. Okay, I will now put it in normal mode and close everything. I have now closed everything, including niliBOX. I will open again, and I have also disconnected the two receivers that I had. Now I want to make use that we have this USB dongle to use another kind of receivers. For those who don't know the ICOM IC receivers, there is a model PCR100, which is a very old model, and it only has a serial port output to connect and an analog audio output. So I have one of those. This USB cable here comes from a converter from serial port to USB. I cannot bring the receiver here because it is installed somewhere else. I will show you in the driver test that when I connect this device, a new USB device appears. You can see that it is an FT232 serial, and we can see that also a serial port has appeared. The name is TTY plus the USB ID. Also, for the analog audio, I have this little USB audio device with an audio input and output. I will connect it here so that we can get the audio output from the receiver. Okay, you can see that now we have an audio adapter here in the USB devices, and in the audio devices, audio input and output, we have an extra device, USB headset, both for input and output. I will now connect the audio cable to here, and let's configure the PCR100. I go to settings again, devices, add device, PCR100, accept, and serial port. We only have one, the virtual serial port that we have through the serial port to USB converter. Audio device, we need to select this device here, which is called USB headset. Now I will give it a name, PCR 100, accept, save, close, and we have here the PCR 100. We need to accept the access to the USB serial converter and not to the audio device. So now let's see what we can do here. I will select the frequency first and the band and the filter, and you can see, okay, now it sounds better. The antenna is not very good, and you can see how from Android we can also connect to serial ports and to USB audio inputs. And one more thing that I would like to show. We have the Android device with that PCR 100 connected. Let's also connect, for instance, the SDR Play. Here we can see that we have, yes, all the devices, the 3 devices that we have are recognized. Now let's simply put it like that, and we can even minimize it. It is not closed, it is just minimized. I will now go to the Windows computer and see how we can connect to this Android device. I am now sitting on my Windows computer. Here is my mouse. I will open my previous installation of niliBOX, where I had installed several devices in previous videos. We can see them here, these two. Remember that this computer is called JC Windows 11. But we can also see the Android device, the 4 different modules that we have installed. So from here, having the Android device running with niliBOX but minimized, we can use it also as a server. I will open the SDR Play that I installed, that I have connected previously, and we can see that it is there. I was in mute. I hope you can hear it now. I can dial FM. Okay, so normal operation, but now the server is an Android device. Remove music to avoid copyright issues. How much can we get from an Android device as server? I can tell you that more than when you are running the application from the Android device itself, because it only requires the CPU to acquire the audio and send it to the remote device that I'm using now. But anyway, you shouldn't expect big things from it. Okay, so now I will close here and we will move to some other section. I am now back to my desk. I will keep this. Okay, I will remove a little bit. I will remove the PCR 100, leave it there, but by now I will keep connected the SDR dongle. Now I'm going to show you how that works in a, I can tell you, very poor Android phone. I have also installed niliBOX here. It is starting, and as before, I'm sharing the screen on my computer so that you can see it in the video. The interface is much smaller. You can put it in vertical or horizontal as usual. Okay, here it is. What can we do here? So first of all, we can open the devices and see what we can see here. We can see a driver test installed on this Android phone. This phone is called JC Android 32 because it is running a version of Android for 32-bit. And we can also see the devices connected to the tablet. So first of all, as I have the RSP1A connected, we can open remotely the Android server. It takes some time. Let's put Again, the same frequency. The keyboard is much smaller, as you can see, so it's a bit more difficult to control. I will move the filter and we'll lower down the gain to 20 dBs. And now I will start. And this audio is coming from the SDR receiver, the SDR Play receiver that is connected to the Android tablet, but we are using it from the Android phone. So this is the first thing that we can do, take remote control of some other installation. Could be an Android tablet, could be any other instance of niliBOX on any kind of computer. Now I will close here and let's see what we can do locally here. I'm going to close niliBOX on this one to avoid confusion. Now they should all disappear here because I have closed niliBOX, and I will remove the tablet from here. Okay. So let's come back to our previous SDR dongle. I have here another kind of OTG cable, which is for this type of connector here. Okay. So I will do the same. I will connect it here. Oh, I turn off. Yes. And I will connect the SDR dongle, and same operation as before. I will go to settings. You can see that it is slower, and I will create a new RTL 2832 module. I need to accept that we want to connect to that device, and for some reason it is not recognized. You need to be careful with the cabling. Now it appeared. There was some problem here. Okay, so same as before, I will put a name here, RTL, save, close. Oh, I didn't save. I will save now here. And the new module appears. We can open it. And you can see that it is fully functional. I need to change here to speaker. Let's mute. And same demonstration as before. Same frequency. Oops. It is difficult to type here. Now it is there. White FM. Filter. And we have some reception. So same as before, we have this little setup with an Android phone, an SDR dongle, a little antenna, and you can use it. I will now close here, and I think that there is not that much that I can show here. It is better if you make your own tests. And now I will change a little bit the setup because we will move to iOS. We will continue now with this iPad as I showed before. Also, as I said, there is no way to connect any USB device here. So the only thing that we can do is to use it remotely from another instance of niliBOX. I have installed here. We can, of course, install some devices that don't require external hardware, like the driver test. Here I will install this, save, it appears here. And yes, we can see that we have essentially almost nothing. But we can also, let me now start my niliBOX on the Windows machine. I will put it there behind. And now the devices installed on the Windows machine will appear here. We can use, for instance, the RTL receiver. I will mute now. Same as before, I will type a frequency here, WFM, sound filter, and
når du lejer den med en OK-el-aftale.
we
Herefter
can
giver du kun 199 kroner
use
per
the
måned
same
i leje- og
controls
serviceaftale.
as we had the
Bestil nu
device
på OK.dk.
connected locally. In an iPad, it is I can feel that it is more powerful. The graphics and the CPU is much better, and you can see how smooth it works. So if you have the opportunity, I recommend iPad, I recommend iOS for remote control of niliBOX, but Android can also do it very well. In this case, we are using the iPad to take remote control of another instance of niliBOX. We could also, in theory, we could do the opposite. What you can use the hardware, so we can use the hardware that is available. What is available here? We have a webcam, we have the camera, and we have a microphone. So I will make a little demo. This is just like playing. I will set up a webcam. I will call it camera. I will set it up to use the front camera. And I will also add the module remote audio. And I will call it, I will call it audio. Now here we have audio and camera. Of course, camera will show where I'm located right now. We can change the resolution to something a bit better. So this is the camera that I'm using to record this video, apart from the screen of the computer. And you can see that I'm here. And audio, we can do the same. We can select as remote. In this case, it is the same computer. This, the audio input and output default, and we will get a pretty echo. Okay, let's see how can we use this from the Windows machine. I will now move to the niliBOX instance on the Windows machine. Here I am. Remember that this is my niliBOX on Windows, and this is the screen mirroring of my iPad. So I will not touch this one, and now we will focus on this on the Windows instance. You can see that now here appear the devices that we have installed in the iPad. We have the driver test, where we can see as before that there is essentially no hardware, and we can also use remotely the camera like this. Let's put it a bit better. You can see this is the same as before, and at the same time we can also start the remote audio. In this case, remote, here we can see the audio input in the iPad, which there is only one, and in local we can see the audio output in my local Windows machine. So I select the speakers, start, show. I will increase a bit the gain, and you can see that we can see remotely the audio, and also bring the audio from this remote side where the iPad is located to the Windows. Okay, I will stop this because we have a pretty echo. Echo. Yes. And I will stop here this demo. And the last thing that I want to show you in this video is how to use niliBOX on an iPhone. There are not many differences with iPad. This is my personal iPhone, where I have also installed niliBOX. You can see it here. If I open the devices, I can see one driver test that I have installed in this iPhone, showing the hardware. There are many cameras because this is a iPhone 13, and you can see how many cameras it has. And we can also see the devices installed in the iPad. I will show you the camera, for instance. Here it is, same thing as before. And if I move 1 second to my Windows machine and I start niliBOX, then we can also see the Windows machine, and we can also use from here the device that I have configured there, which is the RTL SDR. I will put the same frequency, wide FM, filter to 200, and it should out the audio, and more or less that's it. Also, I can tell you that in an iPhone it works very well. You can also use it in horizontal mode, and you can see that the behavior and the way how it looks is very good quality of video. You can very smooth movements. Okay, and all the panels are there. Well, and I think that we have been in all the different functionalities that we can use on the different mobile devices. We have covered Android, both on tablet and a phone, iPad, iPhone. You can see that what you can do in Android is essentially the same than in a normal computer, with the restriction of CPU and memory that you may have in a mobile device. But in general, the behavior is the same. In iOS, we are very much restricted because we cannot connect any external device, but also the result is very good taking remote control. I will leave it here. I hope that you enjoyed. Thank you.